What is up, DTube? So today I want to talk a little bit about Hive blockchain again, or you can also call it Hive Steam. So today I want to talk about the topic of why using Hive makes you consent in crime and criminal activity. Now, this is kind of like a fun topic, right? Because people usually don't cover this from this kind of angle. So I already covered all the horrors about Hive, but there is also another horror, and that is with the word consent. And that is what that word means is this is the definition of it in the dictionary. The word consent means permission for something to happen or agreement to do something. Similar words are agreement, assent, concurrence, accord, and permission. So this is really interesting, right? So this is kind of like you can almost look at it as a karma thing or like a karma loophole that kind of people can take advantage of when they take advantage of people, which the Hive leadership is basically doing and what they did on the Steam blockchain. And this basically means there is sort of like a karma loophole, and that is if someone tells you something what they're actually doing and they show you everything and you still go along with it, you still give permission, you still give consent. So after you've been let's say exposed to some truths, and if you still consent to that and still allow that to happen, which a lot of the so-called Steam community, they went with the Hive thing, even though they know the horrors that Hive did, removing a bunch of coins, and it basically did a lot of other horrible things. And when you kind of know about this, when you logically know the facts that these players are very, very bad, and you consent to that, well, you're basically consenting to all of the other horrible things that they might do in the future. So you already have that, I would say, on your karma in many ways, where it's like, okay, you allowed them to do this other thing, you accepted this other thing, this other horrible thing, and now they can sneak in a bunch of other things because now you are, if you're already so deep into it where you already given consent, oh, I'm going to use Hive and I'm going to promote Hive, now they can sneak in a lot of other things and you can't say anything, right? So you can have this systematic abuse that kind of flows very, very easily because after you make people give consent to something, you run into this very, very weird situation where it can become super abusive and people just allow all of that to happen instead of actually looking at the facts that, well, if you kind of give them consent and you allow all this crime and all this horror and you don't stand up for what's right and you don't have any backbone, well, then that you can fully be abused, right? So that is basically what is happening on Hive, and a lot of people don't understand this consent aspect and this let's say karma loophole. So if someone says something, oh, they're showing like everything that they're doing, and you still don't have a problem with it, it's like, okay, that's kind of weird. Okay, so I think that people should kind of understand this. A lot of people just want to try to look at it in an easy, they want to get an easy way out, and the way that they try to get an easy way out is you saying, oh, they're trying to, instead of looking at the full reality of the Steam and Hive situation, they just want to try to get the easy way out and just blame, oh, it was just the new buyers that was a problem. Well, but then they're trying to take this easy way out and then pretend that everything's fine, even though they're trying to make it, they're trying to find a sneaky way out where they don't have to look at reality of things, that the whole system is corrupt, and that the Hive witnesses, that was the Steam witnesses in the past, they are incompetent and they have been abusing the chain for years, and they're gonna keep doing the exact same thing on the Hive chain because it's the only thing they know. They don't know anything else. They don't know how to run a healthy ecosystem. So I think that humans very easily can do their own more healthy ecosystem. I would say DTC and Hex is kind of good recommendations right now for more healthy systems. Bitcoin and Hive, they are both extremely abusive system, same as a lot of other altcoins are extremely abusive because they just say a bunch of stuff, they just write a white paper, and then everyone blindly believes everything that comes out, even though they're fully wrecked. XRP is a good example. Cardano is another example. EOS is a good example. They said a bunch of stuff 2017, nothing came true. It's like at some point you have to look at people that are saying stuff and kind of use logic and look at it and like, oh, wait a sec, maybe this person is fully incompetent and maybe we can run stuff better ourselves. This is why you're going to see people that are more competent themselves. They're gonna start their own kind of coins. That's why we have Hex. That's why we have DTC. Is people that are trying to make their own ecosystems that have better people doing projects. Many times people don't want to look at reality that DPOS, and this is something that I think talked about in a few days ago, that DPOS kind of has failed in its current form. It is not working. It hasn't worked for years, and there's nothing pointing to anything that anything will improve. Even if you're earning more in fiat, you still have the messed up distribution, and you can never fix the messed up distribution without a fresh start. But then you need a new blockchain. Well, with YouTube, we have the mainnet Avalon blockchain coming out on July the 1st. Let's see how that works out. Many times people don't want to admit that a lot of stuff in the world just fails. A lot of stuff just doesn't work, but we can learn from that. So Bitcoin, digital gold narrative, or peer-to-peer cash-to-cash narrative, none of this worked. People are not using Bitcoin, but people can innovate, and people innovated, and they invented Hex, and Hex is way better, and Hex is actually working better. So it's like we should learn from stuff. We should learn from DPoS failures. We should learn from Steam and Hive failures and never do it again. And actually try to innovate. And actually we have to use logic and look at reality of things. That in its current form, there's nothing that can fix Hive. There's nothing that can fix Steam. It's it failed basically, and I talked about that a little bit in another video called Steam is basically failed. And I think it's very important that people understand this consent aspect. Like, are you okay to have that on your karma? Maybe you are, and then you can keep on using Hive, but it's probably gonna backfire eventually, and that's kind of good to know. Why not just like do something the proper way? And maybe it will cause some drama for some short time, but then you have a healthy ecosystem, and then you have something that actually works. So a lot of the stuff that has been done in crypto hasn't worked. It's been horrible. But if you're really taking a look at things, stuff is getting a little bit better. If you pay a little bit of attention, you don't have to use centralized finance anymore. You can use decentralized Uniswap. Is Uniswap exchange is amazing, but the people running the show, they may not be that good actors because they kind of gatekeeping hacks. And I talked a lot about those other gatekeepers in a video yesterday about all those horrible people. But yeah, people can build better stuff, and that's something that's very important to know, that humans can build better systems. Steam was created out of nothing, okay? And people can create other blockchains that works way better uh, without any nonsense. So people are usually very petty, and that's why they're just going with the stuff that people invented with Steam, and they just go with the flow, and they believe someone magically will come and pump their Hive bag, but they never will come. They will be dumped on forever, and more people's life will be ruined on that chain. And it's like, you really have to take a look for yourself. Do you want to be part of that? Do you want to support a system like that, that systematic abuse people and will keep on doing that for years? It's not a good ecosystem. It will never be a good ecosystem. And they're basically doing criminal activity daily with the proposal system. And yeah, it's so petty and horrible to see. So I think it's really important that people kind of understand this thing about consent, that yeah, if you're using it, you give consent to it, and maybe you're fine with that. Now, I'm not fine with that anymore. This is why I don't use Hive anymore. I don't even use Steam anymore. I only use the Avalon blockchain and Hex. If other great stuff comes out, maybe I start to use it. Who knows? So that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. Have a great day, DTube. Bye bye.